Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
From the very un-PC sitcoms of the 70s and 80s to the laugh trackless fare of the 90s and noughties, sitcoms have come in all genres and flavours, both sides of the Atlantic. With my
With your mum? What's going on?
Damn COVID. With memorable characters and classic catchphrases, we all love a great sitcom. And here's our fact hunter Neil with 10 facts about sitcoms. The Plonker.
Thank you very much, Pav. So, Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton Banks, said the Carlton dance from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was inspired by the White Man dance in Eddie Murphy's Delirious video and Courtney Cox in the Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark video.
What a plonker. What a plonker.
Rainn Wilson, Dwight Schrute, auditioned for the role of Michael Scott.
Aha!
Cleese based the show Fawlty Towers on a real Torquay hotel he once stayed at, run by Donald and Beatrice Sinclair, and was called the Glen Eagles Hotel.
Aha!
Only Fools and Horses holds the record for the most viewers for a sitcom with a whopping 24.3 million. The episode was Time on Our Hands at Christmas 1996.
What a plonker. What a plonker.
One of the Friends' original titles was Insomnia Cafe, also considered was Across the Hall and 6 of 1 and Friends Like These.
How you doing?
Hugh Laurie originally auditioned for the part of Lister in Red Dwarf. Matt Smith of Doctor Who fame actually auditioned to play Will in The Inbetweeners and made it down to the last 2.
That's what she said.
The leading characters are named after serial killers in Gavin and Stacey. Gavin's surname is Shipman, after the GP who murdered hundreds of his patients, while Stacey's name is West, after Fred and Rose, and another character who appeared in the 5 episodes as a friend of the Shipman family is Peter Sutcliffe.
I know nothing.
Gordon the janitor, who pops up in a few episodes of The Office and silently stares into the camera for an uncomfortable amount of time, is played by Stephen Merchant's dad, Ron.
That's what she said.
And casual viewers of Mr. Bean might be convinced that the only real info they have on the character is his last name, but this isn't the case. We can see him writing it in the series, and in the movie you see his passport, and his first name is Mr. Yes, it's Mr. Bean.
I love my break.
Thank you, Neil.
There we are. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. We've made a rip-roaring start to this show. Well, welcome one and all to Top 10 Sitcoms. And we thought no one better than the person who joined us for our very first episode. He's not only an expert on sweets, he is also an expert on sitcoms. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Ross the Boss Carpenter is here again.
Yay!
Hi, thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thanks very much. Happy New Year to you both as well.
So I would have to say that this has been, so what number episode is this? This is episode number 23. This has been the hardest one for me.
Yeah, it's
my
very
first
hard.
list had around about 30 different shows on. And to whittle them down to 10 was the hardest.
Incredibly difficult.
Yeah, the hardest. I was going to say, was that the same sort of thing for you, Ross?
Yeah, definitely. I had, I mean, there's you're looking through them and you're just trying to find the list. I had the original list. And there's probably about 35, 40 here. And you're looking at all of them, and every single one of them, you think that could be in the top 10.
Yeah.
On its own merits. I remember when I was younger, just before I went to uni, I always classed Porridge, Red Dwarf, and Only Fools and Horses as the 3 best programs. If I started watching them, you become so invested in whichever one it is that at that moment, that is the best one you've ever seen. That comedy. And I'm not going to say whether or not they're in my top 10, but throughout time, every single comedy that I watch, you get invested. Once you get invested in the characters, especially if you binge watch a DVD's worth or 2 DVDs worth or a Netflix, box set worth, whatever, you just think I can't not have this one in. But
Yeah.
it's incredible. It's so difficult.
It's very hard to choose, isn't it? And next week it'll probably be a different list altogether.
Yeah. The other thing is also working out what criteria, because there are certain series that I've got in my top 10 and ones that weren't in my top 10, whereas you could pick 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 of the series as absolutely perfect TV, but then there'll be a couple of series that weren't quite as good.
Yeah.
Does that affect your whole placing because of that? I don't know. It did in certain circumstances for me, but then other circumstances it didn't, so I'm not really particularly consistent, which is not good for a top 10 podcast. But so I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in your guys' choices. So we will start with you, Ross, for number 10.
Right. Well, my number 10 is in fact Red Dwarf, and that is actually one of those ones where there were really great series, and then it just wasn't rated very highly after that. So up until when was it? 1998? No, maybe about series 8. Anyway, I think 99. Series 8. Up until then, just loved it, and I got into it really late, so I didn't actually watch the first series until I think Paramount Channel or Dave or something, when I had cable. It had like the box sets of them, and I recorded them onto VHS and would watch them. And I think so I kind of went through like a whole bank holiday weekend just watching nothing but Red Dwarf, and that's one of those ones where at that moment it was the best comedy. That gets my number one at that point.
Yeah.
It's weird because I'm sort of like the opposite of you. I watched series 1 and then didn't watch any more after that. I just seem to just not, another series on. As much as I think we lied to Chris Barry when we spoke to him at the Comic Con.
Well, I was a fan. I was a bit similar to Ross. It's an honourable mention to me because it just didn't quite make it. But I think it was a sublime comedy, sitcom. It was, like Ross said, it had some of the funniest things put to screen that you'll ever see, and it still holds up.
I was going to say, has it aged well, that one? Because that's another thing with a lot of these comedies, because you got comedies going back 40, I suppose 50 years, if you like.
Yeah.
I think we're in 2022 now, so we're looking at the 70s, that some of them don't particularly age very well, and some of them are not very PC, obviously. I might be interested in how many of those we'll have in our top 10s, but...
Take Men Behaving Badly, which was 1993. I loved it at the time.
I did. Yeah.
At the time, it was probably one of the edgier comedies. And then I watched it when it was put on Netflix. Well, I had the DVDs and I watched the DVDs quite happily, loved them. But I watched it on Netflix and I thought, oh, wow, this is terrible. So poor. And it just kind of, I can't watch it ever again because don't want to ruin the rest of what remains of its integrity. And
it was right in the middle of that whole lad culture thing, wasn't it? And Britpop and all of that kind of stuff. I'm exactly. I used to love that. I mean, I had a massive crush on Caroline Quinton anyway, but no, I did. Seriously, I did. But it was that I watched. I think it was on Dave or something one Saturday evening. And I watched like 10 minutes of it, and I thought, oh my god, I used to love it, but it's not the same show that I remember.
I mean, I think with Red Dwarf, I don't know if it's necessarily aged badly. Like I can still watch the episodes on Dave or on Netflix or whichever one it's on, and enjoy them as I did before. So I think that's a good sign. But I think what I liked about it a lot was the fact that there was science involved. So although it was sci-fi and it was in comedy, and I don't like Star Wars. I've never watched more than one film. Sorry. I don't really go for the sci-fi genre, but Red Dwarf I just really did like, and things like White Hole and the sort of time travel concept, and the something you do in the future affects, it's got reverberates across time. that kind of theory I love, and sort of I did cosmology at A level and stuff like that. So looking at science and space and time travel, it really kind of resonated. So
nice. Okay, cosmology, eh? Wow. So he's
Big
good at
word
putting
already.
makeup on as well. Wow, that's great. Right then, Neil, you're number 10.
Is classic Open All Hours. I'm a fan. It's one that reminds me of my youth quite a lot, because I'd always settle down to watch it with my mum and dad and enjoy the laughter and still and really enjoy it. And we talk about it at school, not quite to the extent of other sitcoms, but was always funny. And then somebody bought me, I hadn't watched it for years, and then somebody bought me the complete box set and I binged it. And I have to say, every episode gave me a proper belly laugh. So I had to put it in there because it to me, it's held up very well. And the comedy and the writing is sublime. I know it's Ronnie Barker did most of it himself under his another pseudonym, but he was a genius, wasn't he, of what he could write? He really was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Open All Hours, all the cast were brilliant. Both Nurse Gladys's were both very, very funny. Yeah, I loved it. And in fact, it's been bought out of my cupboard because I'm going to go through it again after writing it on.
What do you mean by both Nurse Gladys's?
There was a different Nurse Gladys at one stage. It wasn't always Linda Barron.
Oh, wasn't it?
Yeah, originally it was I don't know her name. But yeah, Linda Barron took over.
Another one of
Ronnie
mine.
Barker. Ronnie Barker was a hero of mine when I was younger because of Porridge. And Porridge I didn't have having my list ultimately, but again, an honourable mention for it.
He did another honourable mention for me, Porridge. It was another one that was just must-watch TV at the time when you had your 4 channels. Yeah.
I think it's 4 candles, Neil.
A lot of mine are based on the fact that you've got those kind of family moments. Watching it at my nan's on a Saturday afternoon, Porridge was on repeat, or Open All Hours was generally something I'd see in the evening with, again, like family around the TV. So it's those kind of memories that kind of make those for me.
Yeah, it was always a Sunday night Open All Hours, wasn't it, pal?
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't have that, because I loved Open All Hours, but that was what I was saying earlier on, is like the new ones where David Jason is just, it's painful to watch.
You just don't watch them. That's what you do.
And it sort of drags it down a little bit for me. I know the other ones are there and nothing can change them, and they're indestructible, but yeah, it stopped me from thinking of it in my top 10. Right, my number 10 is an American one. It's Police Squad. I don't know if anybody has have seen it, but I love the naked.
Zuckers.
I love Leslie Nielsen, one of my favorite actors, comedy actors. And there wasn't many episodes made.
6, wasn't it? Overall,
I think it was just one series, but I mean, obviously, it's just completely the same as The Naked Gun, but in just half hour. And I love that kind of comedy. I love that. Like the Mel Brooks, the kind of just stupid comedy that there's no reason for it. There's no reason why it's funny, but it is just hilarious and funny. So great writing, great performances. It's just an easy one for me.
I had actually forgotten about that one, but I agree with you. It's a fantastic, every episode was a hit.
Yeah.
And I always liked how they ended every episode. So they'd pause, wouldn't they? As if the screen would pause and the titles would come up. So you'd have the sight gags of like holding the cup of coffee and they would carry on filling it and all
exactly.
that. I just think it was hilarious.
Every started with starring special guest Lorne Green, and then a car would roll by and then a body would be thrown out and there would be Lorne Green dead. And so the special guest was always dead in the very first scene. Yeah, classic. I think they're on YouTube. I think you can see.
Sure to be. I know you can buy them.
Yeah. Who wants to do that in his YouTube, Neil? Come on, get with the kid. Right then, I was going to call you Charlie. I don't know why I was going to call you Charlie then. Ross, you're number 9, please.
Number 9 is Blackadder.
That's my number 3. I'll just mention that now. Yeah,
I've got, I think, 3 of my the bottom 4. 3 of my bottom 4 are quite focused around family or just leaving family, that kind of age. Whereas most of the others have been stuff I've discovered or enjoyed on my own afterwards. Blackadder, I remember the first time I ever watched it, I think my mum had gone out, not my nan. My mum had gone out for a night, and my dad was looking after us, and I'd kind of been allowed to stay up a bit late on this Friday, and I think it was an episode of, might have been series 1, which is obviously the horror of the series. And I thought I was being allowed up to watch this kind of very naughty comedy that my mum wouldn't approve of. So I thought it was like a massive privilege to be allowed up. And then I never saw it again for years and years and years. And then I went to university in the first year, and I had remember you used to get those double VHS boxes. So I had like series 3, which was two videos. And I was in halls on my own one like literally the first night I moved in, I think, and everyone was not there and just me. And this guy moved in, and I said, "Oh, do you want to come in and watch some Blackadder?" And we watched series 3. And just for that year, I just kind of went out and bought the videos when I could get the money, and then watched them just back to back and over and over and over.
Yeah, I personally, it was always the fact that series 1 had funny moments in it. I will confess, but it was weak. And then when series 2 dropped, I was at secondary school, and what is this beauty that has landed? Everything is quotable, everything is brilliant, and it was just pure joy for the next 3 series.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big Rowan Atkinson fan because of Not the 9 O'Clock News. So it was like anything that he was going to be in. And so again, Thursday night. It used to be the Thursday night comedy.
Yeah.
I'll say
it's a go-to sitcom for me as well. It's one that I'll happily put any episode on and just sit and have a chuckle while it's on. Yeah. So yeah,
it's a great one.
Did you have it on your list, Pav? No?
I'll talk a little bit more later on about it. That's okay. Okay then, Neil, you're number 9.
Now, I know this one is not a hit with everybody, but it's Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love Larry David. I love every series so far, and the new one is making me raw. I'm a big fan of uncomfortable humor. As Pav well knows, we've got the same wavelength on certain things, but Curb Your Enthusiasm does enough push it to its boundaries, I think, and it properly makes me laugh. And the improvisation, I think, that goes on in that show is just legendary.
Yeah,
how they do it, God only knows. But yeah, it's every series has been a hit. There's been some weaker ones, but not. I
must admit, I thought this would have been higher in your.
Oh yeah, well, initially it was, but then when other ones came through, I was thinking, no, that's higher.
Yeah.
But there's no disrespect that he's at 9, bearing in mind that I had about the same as you, 30 plus ones to go in, so it still got in there.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think I got to be in the mood for it. That's the trouble. I mean, I've said before, sometimes you can tell that they're improvising, and it's just that. What are you doing? What am I doing? I'll tell you what I'm doing. Well, tell me what you're doing. You think, just get the fuck on with it, will you? For God's sake, And it just, sometimes it just needs to maybe just be a little bit more scripted.
Are you a fan, Ross?
I've got it on my list of American honorable mentions. It's only one of 3 comedies I've got in that. So
okay.
It's not. It's I do like it. It was on my long list, definitely.
Yeah. So my number 9 is Arrested Development. I think this is another one of those ones that you either really like it or you just don't sort of get it.
Or never seen it. Apologies.
Or never seen it.
Same.
Yeah, I find I love, and it doesn't, not saying that I'm an intellectual or anything, but I love clever comedy. I love it when it's layered, when you watch it once and you find it funny, and then you watch it again and there's something else that you realize is in it that maybe pays off 3 episodes later or whatever. And it's stupid. It's Monty Python in certain parts. The characters are just, there's no one there that you like. Everybody's just dicks, but they're really, really funny. That again, the thing with the last couple of series, not as good as the first, say, 3 or 4 series. But if you love that kind of stupid comedy, just clever comedy, I would say give it a watch, because somebody else mentioned it to me years ago and said, you've got to watch it and just watch the first series. It's so funny. And then you just get into it and the story is just ridiculous, but funny. So I enjoy that. I'm surprised that you haven't, but either of you have not watched it, especially you, Ross. I mean, a connoisseur of comedy.
Oh,
we can't hear you, Ross. Oh, you're just doing that for the joke.
It's a funny sitcom moment.
Yeah.
I think I put it down to it not being. I mean, where can you watch Arrested Development?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, fair enough. Then I could have watched it. my excuse is nullified.
You was expecting me to say some sort of really weird, obscure
Sky or Now TV. Yeah, there we go. That's right.
Blonky box. It's on Blonky box. Yeah, 85 quid a month. Right then, Ross, what's your number 8?
It is the only one of mine that actually is a Julia Davis comedy, Nighty Night. I said, that's probably that's a surprise possibly to some people because I run a Julia Davis fan group and I love everything she does, and it was difficult to. I wanted to have one of hers in it, but I couldn't. I'm in an iron between Sally Forever, Hunderby, Human Traffic, which had Rob Brydon in it.
Yeah, Rob Grace. Something you never told us.
But Nighty Night, I think, is the one that sort of defined her, sort of on the map a bit, and it's just really dark and twisted and
funny.
Disabled woman who's made to eat cat shit, and she's serving prawns in milk and all kinds of weird stuff. It's just dark and wonderful.
It was on my honourable list.
Was it?
It was, yeah. It nearly got in. It was very funny. I'm a fan of Julia Davis. I think she did write some brilliant stuff.
That's my favourite one of hers, I must admit.
Yeah,
but didn't make my list.
But she does Uncomfortable really good again, and it's right up my alley. And we can never listen to Lavender by Marillion ever again. Well, hey.
Go on then, Neil, your number 8.
Is Gavin and Stacey. Now, this, I put it on here originally. I'd never watched it the first time round at all. I shrugged it off as if, it's not my sort of thing. I can't be bothered with that. And then when I was married with the kids, the eldest of the kids suddenly started watching it and then was given the DVD box set. So I sat with them and watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it. So much so that it's become a staple that when it's on telly, it's always just left on and I enjoy it. But I have to say, it was nearly let down on my list because of the Christmas special. Not that I hated it. I just didn't think they needed it. It was pointless. It wasn't needed. But yeah, I think it's very easy. It's almost like watching a documentary sort of style, isn't it? Very easy going and funny. This one, James Corden was funny.
But see, that's the reason why I wouldn't have it in my top 10. Because it's weird because I loved Gavin and Stacey again when it first came out. But I am done with watching things with James Corden in it. It's just, it just feels like he's just him and Ramesh Ranganathan are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're just everywhere. And I just can't stomach it anymore.
Yeah, I sort of know what you mean, but I don't feel that is James Corden in the original couple of series.
It was first as well, wasn't it? It was. I mean, it wasn't the first thing he was in, but it was because of Gavin and Stacey that he's everywhere more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I do like it. It wasn't on my long list, but I think it was one of the forgotten ones. It wouldn't have made the short list, but it was. Again, it's kind of almost like a guilty pleasure because it's not cool to like Gavin and Stacey. I don't think.
Was it not?
No,
I was so late to it.
I think it was when it first came out, wasn't it? But it's weird.
I was so late to the party of that one, but I really enjoyed it. I sort of thought, why did I not watch this?
I actually think that the writing is really crisp, and Rob Brydon's just so good in it, and
he's just a legend in it, isn't he?
Really is great in it. Yeah.
Okay, my number 8, something again straight out of my childhood. The Young Ones.
Oh, that's my number 5.
It's how far away is your bit of paper, Neil?
It's my eye. I really need my eyes tested. I tell you, I've got to get some bifocals or something.
This one, it hasn't aged well, but at the same time, it's a perfect slice of what the 80s was like. As in 80s TV, the whole alternative comedy movement. And it was exactly where are you?
Just my weight.
He's dancing, isn't he?
Oh, you've got to watch this on YouTube. I mean, Ross he's like a fire starter, a twisted fire starter. But yeah, it was as a kid, it was the V thing you had to watch, and then you had to watch it on the night because everybody would talk about it at school. Everybody would do their Rick impressions. Everybody would do their Neil impressions. Everyone would do their Vivian impressions. They wouldn't do Mike impressions because he wasn't the cool one. He wasn't the fun one to talk about. But for me, it was one of those shows that sort of shaped my comedy brain, if you like, because I loved everybody. I loved the Comic Strip Presents, that whole thing. You sort of felt, because this whole thing about alternative comedy, which wasn't really, it was just doing something that wasn't Terry and June and The Good Life, as much as they took the piss out of that on the actual show, didn't they? Where
Yes, they did.
Yes, exactly. It's just one of those shows that I don't think my kids have ever watched it. I'd be interested to see what they would think of it if they watched it, because I let them watch things like Gimme 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 when they were little, and they are shocked now when they watch it because they understand what the comedy about Gimme 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 was, whereas it used to be just like this brash like lady with ginger hair, just being loud and funny. So when they're little, they didn't understand what they were saying. It was just a funny cartoon to watch. I think it'd be interesting to see whether they would have thought the same if I'd let them watch the young ones then when they were little, because it was more like a living cartoon. But
it's one that I've revisited again quite regularly. Pop it in and have a watch. I still find it hilarious, but I don't know whether that is because it's of our time in the 80s when we were. And imagine going to school being called Neil when that was prime.
I still do Neil Orange.
You do. That has never grown old.
I bet it hasn't.
Do you know what I mean?
I much prefer it to Bottom. And obviously they go sort of hand in hand.
Can I snip that little bit of audio? Can I just have that?
Good job I didn't go, I prefer Bottom than...
No, that is right. You're right.
Funnily enough, I remember when I was at school and people must have just discovered it as well, but repeats of, and were repeating quoting and stuff in at school as well. So I think that quotability of it sort of definitely resonates through the generations.
And I can imagine having a name like Ross in the 90s must have been a nightmare.
Oh, because the amount of times I've told Ross, like in Friends, to international students or international shopkeepers,
international shopkeepers. Okay. Oh dear. Is that a PC way of saying something then?
No, it wasn't. I thought I was going to go with homeless, and then I thought, let's be more PC than homeless. Shopkeepers. Oh no.
Okay, let's move on to your number 7 then, Ross.
Well, this is the final of my kind of family friendly happy ones. It's Only Fools and Horses. It's obviously an absolute classic. It's regularly voted the best comedy of all time in England.
Yeah, it's my number 2.
And my number 2.
It's one where any episode you put on, I can start quoting immediately. I know what's happening next. I know the lines that are coming. Despite really not having watched every episode that much. I mean, I had all the videos of it, and so I watched them a few times. But even now, having not watched probably some of the episodes for 15 years, perhaps, I'll still be able to immediately go back into quoting and knowing what's happening immediately. And it's very, very comfortable and familiar. And there's, obviously there was a golden period as well where you had Danger UXD, Chain Gang, the episode Sky's the Limit, where the satellite dish was on the balcony.
Yeah,
those ones.
Yeah, it was when the first lockdown came. That was the first thing I binged because I hadn't seen them for so long. I wanted to see whether they held up, etc. And I have to say, I absolutely enjoyed it. Some of the specials, a bit overlong, etc. But the actual series themselves, absolutely perfect until the very final episode.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. We discount anyway. I don't watch it.
It would have been my number 1 if they'd have finished. It was at Time on Our Hands when they won the lottery. He became a millionaire. If they'd have finished then, that for me would have been, because the first 5 or 6 series, and I remember those specials. It almost seemed like they were on a roll, and each like the falling through the bar. Yeah. There was I think they did 45-minute one series, each episode was 45 minutes, and the one episode had him falling through the bar. The other episode had I think it was the sex dolls that used to blow up that one was it. And it seemed to be 1 or 2 amazingly massive laughs in each of those episodes, and I thought, oh my god, they are really on a roll, and then they finished it so perfectly, and then to bring it back when everybody just looked so old and tired, and it's a shame. It was a real shame.
As you said, you can discount them. You know, they earn the credit.
Yeah,
they earn the credit. That you can stop. Even the one where they went to France to see Uncle Albert's funeral. That was kind of pretty poor. And was that last? That wasn't the last one, was it? One before the last, I think.
I honestly can't remember what the
time
last...
on our hands is the clock, isn't it? And the auction.
Yeah. But then they did the Frog's Legacy or something like that, wasn't it? Wasn't that the last one?
That could have been the last one.
I'd
have to go and get the box set. But I never even put it on, so so I can't even hardly remember it. But it's going to be here forever, isn't it? Only Fools and Horses.
Absolutely.
It's one of those ones. It's just going to be a staple of a perfect,
or
near a perfect sitcom.
Yeah. Go on then, Neil. You're number 7.
Is The American Office. I was late to the party with this one.
My number 4.
I really was. Pav used to bang on at me that I should watch it, and other friends did as well. And I thought, no, I don't really like American sitcoms. I'm going to be a stubborn little sod. But eventually I put it on, and I watched the first episode, and I thought, I'm right. It's shit, which the first episode is. But once you get past that first episode and keep going with it, it becomes absolute comedy gold. And so much so, it's become my replacement of putting it on when nothing else is on. I think I'm on my 3rd run through of the whole series.
Really?
Now. Yeah. It is very, very funny. And guest stars are just as funny. I think James Spader needs a huge mention as the boss. What's his Danny California? He's just hilarious.
Series 2 to 7, I think, is
perfect.
Some of the best. Yeah. But as soon as Michael Scott leaves, I've said it before, it just isn't the same.
It's not, because the thing is, the jokes are there and there's some funny jokes, but you're always waiting for Michael Scott to walk in.
Yeah.
The whole thing. But they do end it perfectly. They do end it. It's the perfect ending to a sitcom, I think, that has been done. It really does give it closure, and off you go. Have you watched it, Ross?
No, same as you. I've had so many people say it's just genius, like including one of my best mates whose recommendations I hold in very high regard. Still haven't. I've gone through series 1 because you have to, because that's so replicable of the first the UK offices. And I've gone through a little bit of series 2, and I laugh, and I do find it funny. I just have to push on with it, really. It's just literally going, right, I'm going to watch this today, instead of going to one of the other ones I've already seen. You know, it's knowing I like something versus possibly not liking something that sometimes makes me go for the stuff I'm happy with. Like listening to Radio 2 instead of Radio 1. So,
it's just your age, Ross. I'm on Radio 2, you know. But it is, and a lot of the episodes are only like 20 minutes long. You know, they're only short because of the ad break situation. So it's a perfect little sit down and eat your tea and put it on sort of sitcom. Highly recommend it if nobody's watched it.
I agree. Totally agree, Neil. Right, my number 7 is probably the most recent sitcom I've got on my list, and that is Toast of London. I've finished watching Toast of Tinseltown today, and although it doesn't reach the heights of Toast of London, I think it's the BBC have watered it down slightly compared to what we had in like the 3 series on Channel 4. I still find some bits like really, really funny, but I think again, Toast of London to me is a lot like Arrested Development in that it is absolutely like batshit crazy, but it's just so funny. Matt Berry, there's something about Matt Berry that is just so funny. It doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
He's a voice in the Book of Boba Fett, and I have a smile on my face every time. And he's not a funny character in it at all, but he has a voice, and every time I hear his voice, I think, oh my god, he's just that.
But his intonation is really great, isn't it? And because he's in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
That's right.
He is, yeah.
Has exactly the same intonation. It's brilliant. It's just so, it's needless, which makes it funny.
Yeah.
You don't need to have
he just has to say yes. The way he'll go, yeah. Or the IT crowd. He was the same in that, you know. Mighty Boosh, those kind of things.
And have you been watching What They Do in the Shadows?
You know what? I haven't. I've watched the first episode, but I haven't watched any more of that.
Oh, they are good.
I thought, oh, it can't be any good as good as the film.
Mm.
The film was just brilliant.
It's
And then I
great.
watched the series. I thought this is like the film 17 times or however many episodes there are.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I need to watch it. I definitely need to watch it.
Yeah.
Right then, Ross, you're number 6.
Number 6 is The Inbetweeners. It's one of those where you watch it now and it still just makes you laugh. The only thing I don't like now is that the Inbetweeners movie and the Inbetweeners movie 2 are constantly being on TV.
Yeah.
Whenever you're scrolling, it's on again. What? How many times are they going to play this film? But that aside, I think it's when I first watched it, I just thought, wow, this is really like being at school. The kind of just relentless mockery, even of your friends, and gay jokes, and words like "spaff" on your tits and things like that.
There's a little sound bite again.
It's just brilliant. It's just exactly like being at school, and it hasn't been banned yet, like Little Britain was. And long may that be the case. And now I watch it. I could watch it now. I could put it on Channel 4 ID and watch it, and I will be laughing like a schoolboy again. And
I find it very funny. I spoke about this earlier. I love the first 2 series of The Inbetweeners. I find it very funny. I have a problem with the third, where I don't find it that funny compared to the other 2, and I don't know whether that's me or whether that's other people. So that's why it didn't make my top 10. It just, the third series to me had moments, but was weak.
Isn't it weird how nearly every, doesn't matter how classic a comedy series is, unless you do the thing like
Faulty Towers
or The Office, where it's 2 series and done, it's very hard to keep that going. And I wonder why that is. Maybe they just run out of ideas, or they've had 2 good series, so they are not quite as invested in it, and they're maybe looking over at something as like, we've got a movie coming, or it's weird how a lot of series do that.
Well, my idea. Oh, sorry, Ross. I was just going to say, my idea with The Inbetweeners, I gave it some thought. Is they always said they used a lot of the circumstances and actions and things that happened when they were at school for their own jokes and writing on that series. I reckon they ran out of what they did.
Yeah,
that's all. As simple as.
I think This Country is another example where 1 and 2 were really great series. Series 3 doesn't really get the same kind of. People don't feel the same about Series 3.
No, I think you're right.
And we know the cast there, so you can almost imagine that Daisy might have been looking at what's beyond. And so the third series, I think it was also slightly Ross, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Maybe we should do a podcast about that.
Yeah. What, This Country?
What a great idea. Right then, Neil, you're number 6.
Is Faulty Towers. Now, this went up and down my list like you wouldn't believe, but I put it in there at number 6 because that's
my number 6.
Is it really?
It really is.
Perfect length, isn't it? Perfect length. 2 series and we're done. Yeah. Basil
I've got a
Fawlty.
box of tricks now. I've got to be careful I don't overdo the box of tricks. That's going to be.
But Basil Fawlty, to me, is probably one of the greatest sitcom characters ever created, maybe. In the way that, and only John Cleese could ever really play him, because he does 0 to mad like nobody else. Brilliant writing, perfect half an hour.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's just every episode is a pure episode, isn't it? It's just brilliant.
I like it. I think it's not in my top 10. It's often the one that competes only Fools and Horses in the UK public votes. I like it, but I just don't know. It is 12 episodes. They are really good, but it just, I don't know. I don't know why.
Is it dated too much for you, do you think? Or
I don't know, because I liked Porridge and Dad's Army and Steptoe and Son and other old-fashioned comedies, but I think it had some good jokes and good scenes. It's got equivalent scenes to the chandelier scene from Only Fools and things like that, but I never found it really that special. I don't was that it was dated per se. I just think it was, there were other comedies of equal standing for me.
There you go, Mr. Cleese. That's Ross pissing all over your chips. Okay. The thing is, I don't even know when you listen to the audience on Faulty Towers. I don't even think they appreciate for me how good Faulty Towers was at the time. And maybe it might have been that thing. They might have done series 3, and it might have been like an in between of series 3, and it might not have been as good, and people wouldn't put it at the top of their sitcom list. Either side of Only Fools and Horses. It's a weird thing that 2 seasons and done kind of thing, because it's a bit like when a rock star dies at 27 and they're always stuck at that age. So I've always said, if John Lennon and George Harrison were alive, would they be playing Butlins now like Status Quo used to do? Or would who knows? They wouldn't be on this pedestal as much as they would have done if they would be 80 now and still trying to be rock stars. That's my point, and I'm sticking to it. Right, so number 6, I also had Faulty Towers. So Ross, you're number 5.
Number 5 is People Just Do Nothing. I think it was really excellently cast. I think that everyone in that show is just perfect. I like that they had relationship before they set it up. Obviously there's a number of mockumentaries, and they all follow a similar kind of thing. But I just find I think the episodes are, some of them just really well done, and just really enjoy it. 5 seasons, which is obviously quite a rare thing with comedies these days. And series, I'm English. But I don't really see any weak episodes. Like, there obviously are some throughout the episodes that were made, but there's not. I couldn't say that series 5 is a weak series because it's the last one. Some of them, I think, actually got stronger in some of the series.
How did it hold up as a movie?
I did like the movie because I don't like when you watch a series and they make a film and the film feels like it's Hollywoodized. There's the laughter track's gone in one of those older sitcoms, and so it feels a little bit empty, like drinking sparkling water. It felt like a long episode, which was what I wanted. On the other hand, Alpha Papa, the Alan Partridge film, is weak compared to Alan Partridge series. Because it does feel like it's kind of been glamorized. But this didn't feel like that. Good.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've never been able to get into.
Yeah, I've tried. Yeah,
I find it a little bit. And again, I don't know whether it's because I was so enveloped in this country that it felt to me too similar to this country. The way that it almost looks like they're making it up. It doesn't look like it's scripted, and it's supposed to be like that, obviously, because it's a mockumentary. And I don't know whether I just didn't give it that much of a chance. I think maybe I need to go back to it. And like you said with The Office, and just maybe bear with it a little bit more and give it a bit more of a go.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do that with The Office if you do that with Gifted.
I think that's right. Let's do a virtual handshake on that, Ross. There. Well done. That looks
the size of
the wanky one. Good.
Okay, then, Neil, we've got your number 5 as The Young Ones.
It is.
So my number 5 is Father Ted.
That's
my number 4.
That's both your number 4s.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about clever writing. Talk about absolutely stupid. Talk about brilliant characters. And not just the main ones, but all the characters on Craggy Island that fill up, the world. And they're all as ridiculous as each other. I don't think there's been a series since Father Ted finished that has been quite as good as that. Classic moments. I mean, it's one of those shows again that you can put on at any time, and I don't think that that's particularly dated. It was a 90s show, wasn't it? But
1995, yeah.
Yeah, but there wasn't really. I don't think there was anything un-PC or anything sort of I mean, there's a
Not
little bit of
particularly.
You mean beside the Nazi perfectly square bit of dirt?
I suppose you got that bit, haven't you?
But it's all in context, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You
even
know.
the swearing is childlike swearing as
Yeah.
opposed to proper swearing. But I absolutely love this show, and I would watch it 24 hours a day if I didn't need a job for money.
And Father Ted was taken far too young, wasn't he?
Far too young, absolutely.
Far too young.
I was going to make a joke that I think ending at 3 series is probably for the best. But for me, it was it was on in 1995, and I remember Channel 4 on a Friday evening, just being at school, finishing school, and you had TFI Friday, you had Friends had just started, and Father Ted, and they were the kind of programs that were on at that time, and Eurotrash probably afterwards. And I think a little bit later came So Graham Norton.
Yeah.
It was that kind of, for me, it was like a golden age of sort of growing up a little bit. At that age where I was just kind of turning into, real beast of a man. And it's the theme tune. When it kicks in, it kind of just warms you immediately. And the classic moments. I mean, like, I struggle to think of my favorite episode. Speed 3 often comes up with the milk float, but there's the football one, Song for Europe, and or when Dougal delivers the milk to the woman who's naked at the door, the jumper in the cake.
Yeah.
How far away, the perspective, all that bit is hilarious.
And Graham Norton.
Through the,
there's just so many. It was like it was almost like in an alternate reality, wasn't it? It was not quite on planet Earth, if you know what I mean. So like their fairground and things like that was all very surreal, very funny, very funny.
I haven't seen it for a while, and I must watch it again because
it's hilarious. It's always on E4 or one of those.
I was watching it just the other day. Actually, it was on 4OD. The whole lot.
Yeah, we'll watch that. Okay, so both of your number 4s are Father Ted. So Ross, what's your number 3?
What was your number 4?
My number 4 was The Office, the US Office.
Okay.
So we've already talked about that. Sorry, well done, well picked up on there, Ross.
Number 3 for me is The Thick of It.
Yes.
Now that is a comedy that I think it couldn't have been cast any better with Capaldi, Chris Langham. As much as he had an indiscretion, he's back from that now. But he was in it. He was really good in it, and I've got no name.
Rebecca Front.
She was really good, and the one who plays Terry Coverley, whose name Joanna Scanlon, I think. I like the younger guy as well, whose name I've forgotten. Chris Addison. Now, I hate him on panel shows. Horrible on panel shows. But in that's why I can forgive him being alive, because of The Thick of It.
Oh, good. Glad you said that.
Thick of It, I think there's lots of people who want to be knowledgeable politically. And so when there's a general election coming, everyone suddenly becomes a little politician and posts their opinions, and usually as soon as the elections are over, they kind of just disappear again and don't talk about politics again until there's something else of interest. And The Thick of It kind of just gives me a little window into politics, and actually I would guess that that's probably as close to reality as any portrayal on TV that isn't true life politics. And I just think it's so well written, and the swearing and the put downs are just incredible.
Well, I know somebody, myself and Neil know somebody that worked in the Foreign Office, and they said that The Thick of It was truer than anyone could believe.
Yeah.
When you see the way decisions are made and the way that things come about in
That's
real government.
The kind of manipulation. I mean, I love House of Cards on Netflix, and the way Kevin Spacey's character, it's psychology. He knows what people do, and that getting what he wants by stepping over people, but not just doing that, but making people, coercing people subtly to make decisions that ultimately result in this person knocking, this domino falling, and then that domino falling, and then him swooping in. Capaldi in it, his character just does that so well. It's he just manipulates and manages everything so well that he comes out looking brilliant every time. And it's just really clever.
Almost every time. He sort of gets his comeuppance at the end, doesn't he? I mean, but
yes, that's true. But he comes back again, though.
He comes back again. I mean, this was the show that I think was the one that hurt the most to not be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Because I think, again, I'm the same with me. I think I'm probably on my 7th go round of watching the thick of it on Netflix or whatever one it is. I would just put it on, mainly because I also love watching the workings of a government. It's like if you looked at it as a documentary, just looking at the way that they, like you say, they will. I think it's the very first scene in it, isn't it, where there's a guy, one of the members of Parliament, and Tucker is there saying, "Oh, go on, and you're all right. Don't worry, you're okay. Oh, that's a big relief. That's why you got to go." What do you mean? Don't
Here's your resignation letter.
Here's your resignation letter. You'll get a soapy tit wank from the Prime Minister and all that. And you think, I bet that's exactly how it is. The guy will go in there hoping to get the slap on the back and don't worry, everything's fine. And the next minute you find out that it's actually already running in the newspapers that you're gone.
Absolutely. I love how the characters hate each other as well. All 4 of the main ones.
Yeah.
You think they're like part of the same team working together, but each of them got their own agenda, and each of them criticize each other blatantly to each other's faces.
And they're only looking after their own backs. That's all they really want. They don't give a shit about anybody else. Sounds like podcasting. Okay, so Neil, you said Blackadder for number 3.
I did.
My number 3, maybe a bit of a surprise, I don't know, is Alan Partridge.
Alan Partridge.
Oh, did you forget to put? Oh,
my number 1, of course.
Don't say that now. Spoilers.
No, I didn't say.
It's okay, honest. It's okay. I mean, I'm going for the whole collective. I did message Ross a couple of days ago to say, look, are we going to do specific series of Alan Partridge or is the whole thing? And I think the best thing is the whole thing. And I will say, if it wasn't for this time with Alan Partridge, which I found a little bit disappointing, especially the last series. I don't know what it is about the last series, apart from the fact that it looks like Steve Coogan is reading all of his lines from a like idiot boards.
Yeah.
Especially is it Matt Smith, the Doctor Who? He does an interview with him, and they both look like they're reading it off, and you can see it the same as they do on Saturday Night Live, and that takes me out of it straight away. Alan Partridge is a character. Every series that I've seen or listened to him, the audiobooks, one of, if not the greatest comedy character ever, without a shadow of a doubt. And Steve Coogan is a comedy genius. He's an absolute comedy genius. But he would have been higher. I think it would have been higher if it hadn't been for that this time. The first couple of series, or first series. How many have they done? 2 or 3 series?
2 series of this time. Do you think though that if you rewatched it, thinking that was deliberate, looking to auto cue,
right?
You think that would change your perspective on it?
Maybe if it was just Alan, but if it's Alan and the guest both, it's almost like, we've managed to get Matt Smith at the last minute. Don't worry about the lines. We'll stick them on idiot boards for you, and just read what you get there, because you can see he's looking at Alan, and then his eyes. And it's another thing, that reason why I can't watch Saturday Night Live is because you can see all these really accomplished actors, and I know that they're rewriting at the last minute, but you can tell that they're reading off of cue cards, and I don't understand. But I'm not taking anything away from Alan Partridge. I'm Alan Partridge. What's it called? What's the first one? Knowing Me, Knowing You. The Christmas special is one of the funniest Christmas specials ever, without a shadow of a doubt. So for me, he's number 3, and I know that might be a bit controversial, but there you go. Okay, Ross, you're number 2.
My number 2 is The Office UK. I feel bad about putting UK next to it. It's The Office. That was the original The Office.
Okay.
I obviously it gave Gervais his platform. Not his platform. It was what he leapt onto. He obviously had a platform from the 11 o'clock show and his own the Ricky Gervais show, which was a bit of a bombed. So then this came out of the woodwork very suddenly. Everyone, we discussed it before, I know, but people didn't know about the first series. Some people luckily caught it. I think you said you did. Did you have?
Yeah.
But lots of people didn't see series 1, and then series 2 came out, and people suddenly hooked onto it. And I think there was also some people thought it was a real documentary as well, much like This Country when that first came out. And I was one of the ones who caught it late. I got the second series, and then I bought the videos of series 1 and then 2 when it came out, and I got the script books as well. And it's just brilliant. I think it's lovely. I think it was rounded off really well with the Christmas special. Don't think it's a bad episode, but again, that's Gervais's hallmark is 2 series and out, although Derek was longer. And Afterlife is now proven to be longer. But I think it was just really great and changed the kind of comedy for future writers and influenced a lot.
I agree. I just found it just didn't make my top 10. It'd be probably in my top 15, let alone top 20. But yeah, it's I watched it not long ago, actually, especially the Christmas specials, and I think like that was one of those moments where you're shouting at the screen, and you're saying, I was going to say Dawn, wasn't it? Yeah, just come back, just turn around, don't walk out, just turn around. I can remember that. And
that moment, I thought you were going to go for the lady in the white chiffon scarf. That moment.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
go with her.
Yeah. You have one of the greatest fuck off moments, which I think we've mentioned before on podcasts, when he tells Finch to fuck off, which was very sort of satisfying. Yeah. But her walking out, please just turn around, and it was a great moment at the end. It definitely was. But Neil, you don't like The Office, do you, Neil?
It didn't resonate with me. I don't know why. What was going on at the time? I don't know. But I struggle with David Brent. I have to say, I love Ricky Gervais, but I do struggle with David Brent. I don't find him that funny. I find him quite a knob.
That's exactly what he is. He's
but I don't enjoy watching that.
No,
you see,
you don't like looking at knobs.
No, well, not that. Anyway. And I did give it another go and watched it, and it was better than I remembered it, but it still hasn't come. It wouldn't be in my top 20. No. I think Extras was far better than The Office, personally, but I'm wrong on that by so many other people that tell me I'm wrong, that The Office is far better than Extras, but I don't. I think Extras is better.
Again, it's perspective, isn't it? If you believe you're watching it and thinking this guy's a knob and not funny, but then your perspective is altered slightly to look at it as the reason he's funny is because he's a knob.
Yeah.
But again, you've obviously watched knowing that. I mean,
yeah.
Intelligent. But if someone else were watching it thinking, "Who's this dickhead?"
Yeah.
Then said, "Well, watch it again, but this time think of that's why it's." That's the thing that is the funny thing, is that he's aware of himself being a knob.
But it's everyone's got a different outlook on what they find funny. Of course they do, and everything. But it had moments, but it just never struck. It never stuck with me ever. I wasn't like Pav loved all that waiting with bated breath and everything like that. I really didn't give a toss. I was watching it and thinking.
Well, that's for any kind of, whether it's drama, comedy, whatever. If you don't invest in the characters, then the emotional moments are just not gonna. They're not gonna land, are they? So,
no.
I mean, that's just the fact that you're dead inside.
Yeah, and I dare say I'll try it again. Do you know what I mean? It's on Netflix and it's there for me to watch, and I will probably try it again, because I know it is. And it's a comedy changer, like you said. It changed comedy.
Is what you'll do is you'll compare David Brent to Michael Scott, and Michael Scott
that's the danger I've got now.
And he's lovable, Michael Scott.
Yeah,
I've said it a million times. Whereas David Brent is an absolute ass, and he only thinks about himself. Michael Scott thinks about everybody.
Yeah.
but is an ass. He's just still an ass. But I think that's the trouble. As soon as you see the two, you compare them, and you realise
That's the
that David
problem.
Brent is just not a nice person at all.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So we both had Only Fools and Horses, Neil, myself, and
Yeah.
yourself at number 2. So Ross, do you want to give us a countdown for your 10 to 2? Yep. Go on, far away.
So 10, Red Dwarf. Number 9 was Blackadder. 8, Nighty Night. 7 was Only Fools and Horses. 6, In-Betweeners. 5, People Just Do Nothing. 4, Father Ted. 3, The Thick of It. And 2, The Office.
Wonderful. Neil, you're 10 to 2.
Absolutely. So at number 10, Open All Hours. Number 9, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Number 8, Gavin and Stacey. Number 7 is The Office American version. Number 6 is Faulty Towers. Number 5 is The Young Ones. Number 4, Father Ted. Number 3, Blackadder. And number 2, Only Fools and Horses.
Okay. My number 10 was Police Squad. 9, Arrested Development. 8, The Young Ones. 7, Toast of London. 6, Faulty Titties. 5, Father Ted. 4, The US Office. 3, Alan Partridge. And 2, Only Fools and Horses. So Ross, hit us with your number 1 sitcom.
My surprise number 1 is Alan Partridge as the entirety of its universe. It is. I remember kids at school, again, sort of talking about it, and a couple in particular sort of using it in their sort of daily routine. And I think it was not until I went to uni that I actually started watching it on video again. Obviously, I didn't see Knowing Me, Knowing You, 1994. 1997 was I'm Alan Partridge, and then I went to uni in 2000. So that year, I really just watched Alan Partridge, and didn't see Knowing Me, Knowing You for a long time after that. And I loved it. Again, like the way that porridge is comforting on a Saturday afternoon when your nan's gone shopping. Alan Partridge has an episode. There's an episode in Porridge called A Long Day In or something like that, where, or Storm in a Teacup, actually. He's trying to get some relaxing time in his cell, and all the others are playing football, and everyone keeps interrupting his silence. I love that sort of Saturday afternoon feeling. And there's that one episode where Alan goes off to get some windscreen washer fluid, and he's bored. There's nothing happening in the hotel, and it just gives me that same feeling. And then I was waiting for series 2 to come out, and again, I recorded it off of TV, so I had episode 1, and then chronologically recorded them. And I kept watching episode 1, and I didn't really find that first episode that funny. And then, as I think I watched it probably about 6 times, where I tried to watch the series, and then I got past it eventually. I think when I got the DVD of it, and thought, oh, that's so good. Why haven't I carried on with that? And then ever since then, I've just kind of completely engulfed every single thing there is to watch and listen to. So all of the day-to-day and on the hour stuff. Obviously, I still don't like Knowing Me, Knowing You as much as the other stuff. But Mid Morning Matters, the podcasts from the Oast House, the 2 audiobooks, which are 6 and 7 hours of him reading out the whole book. Scissor Dial and Welcome to Places of Our Lives. And then this time, which obviously came out recently, I'm going to Stratagem, the live tour in, I can't remember which month. Is it this month? I don't know, sometime this year. Every single thing, it's just a whole universe. And what I love is that the books knit everything together. So any gaps between the series, the lead up to his 1994 series and stuff, everything's covered, and everything kind of works to the book. There's a couple of inaccuracies I found, like they got the hotel room wrong in the series compared to the book he stayed in, and the number of days that he stayed in the travel tavern is 182 or 183, depending on which version you're reading. But I just love that whole
nerd.
and of course, recently I hosted the quiz of the Alan Partridge Festival, the first in the world in Norwich, this October just gone, and just a whole fan community there, seeing how they fancy dressed, and just the knowledge that everyone has is brilliant.
Have you still got the peephole Pringle?
I've got it in the loft.
You got it in the loft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Got it
that's
on,
obviously that's up in the loft, but the leather pants I'm wearing a lot.
Oh dear. Right then. So Neil, what's your number one then?
It is Phoenix Nights.
Wow. So Alan Partridge didn't even make it into your top 10.
No, sadly, it was in there. It dropped out, and again, I'm not going to dwell on it too much. There's a few things that have put me away from the Alan Partridge thing a little bit, but Phoenix Nights for about the last 10 years has probably been my favorite sitcom. I watch it regularly. It still gives me the same amount of belly laughs as when I first watched it on Channel 4 when it came out. Series 1 is by far better than Series 2, but Series 2 is still strong. It went downhill with Max and Paddy. There was moments and everything, but I think it's just to me, the perfect sitcom. It has everything that I wanted, everything that makes me laugh. And it's a shame that he won't re-release it so we can see it a bit more HD and digital. But,
yeah, that is weird. I mean, I will say, it's one of my favorites. Obviously not in my top 10, but
it's just to me, like I said, I watch it so regularly. You can watch them on YouTube, but the quality is bad. But yeah, just so funny, and I'm so glad I got the DVDs. But they're kept with kid gloves now because you can't get it anymore.
Well, I've got it digitally. I downloaded it, from spurious sources, but very good quality. Yeah. So if anyone wants it, just let me know.
Oh, there you go.
Have they not got it on like iTunes and stuff like that?
No, it's not on 4 on demand or anything. And I was reading that he won't re-release it.
I might send you a text message after this then, Ross.
Yeah. But Brian Potter is fucking genius, funny to me. We sort of remember those sort of working clubs. They weren't quite as popular down here as they were up north, but we had one in Siren, didn't we? Had a couple.
You still have them around. They're there.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of everything. And it's, just pure fun from start to finish. And excuse me. And those bits in the end, the auditions, are just as funny as what was in the show. We'll never listen to Nelly the Elephant ever the same again.
Dear, wonderful things. Right, my number one has already been mentioned by, I think it was Ross mentioned it, and another one. It was your number 3 as well, Neil. Blackadder.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I watched, I think, series 4 about a month ago, and it's just so well written. Even the first series again is not up to the strength. I don't think they really found their feet, and I think it was too. I think Rowan Atkinson had a bit too much to do with the writing of the first series, didn't he? And I think Richard Curtis and Ben Elton took it over a little bit more.
Ben Elton wasn't part of the first series.
No, that's right. He? That's right. But again, so well written, great characters, and it is my favorite sitcom. So,
if we had to pin you down into a series, what series would be your favorite?
I think it'd be series. It's either 2 or 4 for me. Right. But I think series 2. I just think that's the most rewatchable one.
And that's the one that we were all quoting at school, wasn't it? When it came out again.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it was what?
With Queenie and Nursey and
Tom Baker, who still gives me the biggest belly laugh.
Oh, there's a woman's legs, my lord.
I bet you've never had 7 sailors tossing in that purse.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Right, so there's our top 10s. Did you have some honourable mentions, Ross? You said you had in your...
Well, this country, none of us had in our top 10s.
Yeah.
To me, I was thinking about that. It's too fresh. I'm the same as Pav. We're too dissected and too involved in it that it's sort of become different at the moment. I don't find it that funny anymore because we've just done so much on it. It's not to say it's not, and it'll probably in 10 years' time be in the list, I would imagine. But
I'm quite refreshed actually that none of us have it in our top 10 because we all have a massive respect and love for it, and it is very, very good. It's really high quality, and it is on the long list for sure. But there's some classics on this list, and outside of this country, I had Derek and Extras in the and Afterlife in the Gervais set. I had The Royal Family, Still Game, a Scottish comedy.
Yeah, that's very funny. Still,
I
game.
love. Just think it's brilliant. Good Night, Sweetheart, and Detectorists. And then I had Frasier and Cheers on the American shortlist.
And on where was Mrs. Brown's Boys on your?
Then that was number 10, wasn't it? No.
I forgot. Sorry. Okay. We'll just go through some of the honourable mentions that were sent through. So on Twitter at Nick Boyd Guitar. Hello, Nick. He had Spaced, which was on my list of 20, I think. The Office, Alan Partridge, Seinfeld, Curb, Father Ted, Fools and Horses. Don't know what order they'd be in mind. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Nick. At Andy McEwen 1, Bottom, Blackadder, Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, like that.
Canadian, if it's allowed. Right now, has anybody seen? Oh God, I forgot his name. Who's the guy that used to be the Crystal Palace chairman and owner?
Simon. Surname Reed? No. Simon something.
It is Simon someone. Have you seen him lately with his glasses? He looks just like the guy from Trailer Park Boys with the glasses.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. If you go on YouTube and look at it's Simon. Oh God,
Oh, Simon Jordan.
Simon Jordan and Jim White. They do a morning show on Talk Radio, and they'll have clips of videos. And I can't remember what the guy's name is in Trailer Park Boys now. Is it Bubble or something like that?
Oh, Bubble, yeah, with upside down glasses.
Yeah, he looks just like that. He looks just like that. Anyway, Andy McEwen 1 also says Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Stu Grant says Curb Your Enthusiasm, Phoenix Nights, Uncle. Everyone heard of Uncle?
Yes, I did. That was with what's the name of the comedian? Oh,
we're good on names tonight, aren't we? We're good on names.
Yeah. Oh God.
I'll leave that with you, Neil.
Tim. I think it's. Was it? No, it's not. But I can't think of his name now.
Okay, no. Fraser. Everybody loves Raymond. Open All Hours. Porridge. Man Down. And how did I forget Father Ted? It's literally in the image that was on the. The image that I put up. Adam Okin said everyone loves Raymond, or everybody loves Raymond. Only Fools and Horses, Friends, Steptoe and Son, Faulty Towers and Fraser. Sean Robbins, Peep Show, How I Met Your Mother, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Rec is another one. If you get a chance to watch it, is to watch that. Office US, Office UK, Veep, which is another funny one. Oh, yeah. Dinosaurs, which I'm assuming is the old
Jim Henson one.
Jim Henson one. Thick of It, and Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. I've never heard of that one.
Nor me.
Mary Walker James says, nothing American, thank you. Not a title, it's just a personal choice. Porridge, The Good Life, Phoenix Nights, The Royal Family, Some Mothers Do Have Them. Oh, I used to love that. The Vicar of Dibley, Only Fools and Horses, Gavin and Stacey, Steptoe and Son, and One Foot in the Grave. And Miranda Sim said, This Country, Detectorists, Alan Partridge, Nighty Night, Kath and Kim, 15 Stories High.
Oh, that's good.
That is Sean Locke.
Sean Locke, yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Staith Let's Flats, Brass Eye, of course.
Oh, it wasn't a sitcom though, was it?
Was that? No, I wouldn't say it was a sitcom.
No,
Mighty Boosh, People Just Do Nothing, Camping.
That's Julie Davis, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Right.
Okay.
Ghosts, Catterick, which is really Thick and Bob. Thick of It, Early Doors, Grandma's House. I've not heard of that one.
That was Simon Amstel.
Oh, was it? Oh,
he wrote it. Yeah.
Right,
Rebecca Front's in that actually.
Oh, is she? Right, yeah. Marion and Jeff.
Yeah,
that's Rob Brydon. That's very funny.
And Human Remains. Andrea Adams says Phoenix Nights, Max and Paddy's Road to Nowhere, Alan Partridge, Some Mothers Do Have Them, Only Fools and Horses, Gavin and Stacey, Royal Family, The Cockfields. That's normally where you hang out, isn't it, Neil?
Isn't that dance festival thing?
And this kind of now the Cockfields is what's the name of the comedian with the big beard? Joe Wilkinson.
Oh yeah,
it's that.
Oh
one. Yeah. So thank you very much for all of your feedback on that. Well, there we go.
Yeah,
Ross, you've done it again. You've you've given us 10 of your best, which we absolutely love. How's things going with you? How's the podcast going? Are you still
I haven't done one since Trevor Cooper, I think might have been the last one. Just because of work getting so busy and finding the time to engage with people, and COVID's just been relentless. So I haven't carried on yet, but hopefully I'll get going again pretty soon, I hope.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
There you go. Everyone needs to listen to your dulcet tones, young man.
Yes, there's never enough Ross.
Never enough Ross. Before we actually get on to all the how you can get hold of us and everything, we need to mention two new Patreons. Crystal Waters. Hello, Crystal.
Lovely name.
It's a lovely name. I mean, it's a beautiful name. I mean, it sounds like a porn name, doesn't it? To be fair. Crystal Waters.
Poor Crystal.
But thank you, Crystal. And you're going to be a guest on the podcast very soon. So you can have a go at me for saying that your name is a porn name. And also Robin Eureka.
Oh, like that.
That's another, a very exotic name. They are both from the other side of the pond. So thank you very much for supporting us. And thank you very much. Robin's also going to be a guest on the podcast in a future episode. So we can't wait to chat to those lovely, lovely people. Thank you so much. Neil, do you want to tell everybody how they can get hold of us and how they can get involved in Patreon?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, guys, for your support. You can find us on all the social medias at Top 10 Pods. Come and give us a like, click, whatever it is you do on those. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com on what top 10s you'd like to see, hear, or do. And then you can come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/top10pods, where you can get rewards such as our episodes super early, bonus episodes behind the scenes, and even a chance to be a guest on your own episode like those two did or are going to be. Check out all the links via Linktree. You can find the link in the show notes. So please subscribe. Leave us a rating review on Apple Podcasts, or subscribe and follow on Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever else you may get your podcast from.
There you go. Was I right, Ross, or was I right?
You were right.
About Simon Jordan.
He does look exactly like it.
I'll send you the picture, Neil. And
please do.
For our YouTube viewers, I will pop that picture up right now, so you can see that they do look amazingly similar. Ross, thank you very much for joining us, mate.
Yes, thank you, Ross.
And we will have you back if you want to come back. We'll find another 10 that we can squabble over.
Yes, please do.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you very much, Pav.
Thank you. Let's just go and start the countdown.
Perfect.